the biggest issue missing right now for AI adoption is trust in the data and the human feeling that they are in control. Because right now, if there's an AI that fully controls my job, frankly, it's not good at it. People are using AI, but they don't fully trust it. And enterprise users want a very binary answer. If you were to ask me, did my PO get paid? I can tell you, I think I have an 86% confidence your PO got paid. No, either you have the confidence or you know. So just because the AI can do certain things for you, you want a binary answer. And I think enterprises are finding that there are a lot of the software that they have bought over the last 10 years, especially in the cloud era, is not getting used as much.
Welcome to the Raise and Exit podcast, where we're on a mission to help entrepreneurs with the tools and knowledge that they need for their fundraising and exit journey, sometimes giving you insights years before you actually need it. Today, we have with us Vik Ghai, who is the co-founder at G2C Venture Capital Partners, and look forward to interviewing with him with some of the information and insights that we have. So on that note, Vik, thank you for being here, taking some of the time out of your day. And why don't we dive right into it? Can you please give us a bit of a background of what you're doing in your fund, what you're trying to achieve, and how you're different from maybe some of the other parties that you could approach?
Sure. Thanks for having me here, Edgar. Glad to share some of the wisdom I have learned from others over a period of time. I'm here at G2C Venture Partners. We're primarily a fund backing founders, building AI systems that putting business users in control. It's very different than any other AI app that puts AI in control. We are focusing on the business users. I think that's where a big market gap is today. A lot of AI apps, but very slow adoption in the business world. We write $1 to $2 million checks for very early stage founders who are pre-product market fit. They have an idea, but they haven't quite fully validated it with the market. And that's really where we add a lot of value, helping find their product market fit. I've been a founder myself. I've had 3 great successes. I've had one not so great exit. So I've learned the do's and don'ts, and product market fit is one of those things where we can really help. Venture has been a great business. So far, I've transitioned from being a founder to a VC, and I'm really enjoying it.
That's awesome. You're in that interesting position in that you're providing that check pre-product market fit. So maybe what you can kind of unpack is, how is that mindset different from an investor who might be there post-product market fit, right? You have different objectives, different risk tolerance. So maybe you can just unpack on what's that mental model that is there from somebody who's willing to put a bet such as you versus somebody who'd want to come in at a later stage.
Yeah, I think the real action is, from my perspective, is in the early stage, because that's really where there's a lot of hidden talent. What we see, the number 84% of companies that raise seed, they never make it to Series A. So, and this is a number from last 3 years from Carta. This is not my numbers. This is the industry numbers. It means a lot of investment goes in. And one of the things that my job is to turn from a lot of tech speak or all kind of lofty valuation into, why would somebody want to buy this? Why would somebody want to pay for this solution? And it sounds like a very simple question, but it's so hard to get a clear answer on it, especially in the early stage. The second thing, there's a lot of hidden both product signals that customers are giving when either they're saying yes to something, or especially they're saying no to something. Entrepreneurs really need to understand what that no means. Don't necessarily be disappointed in the no, but really try to understand the root cause behind the no and focus on where the energy is. So that's one big area our fund focuses on. And also there's a lot of hidden go-to-market strategies. A lot of founders don't believe go-to-market in channel. They think, oh, I got to go sell all of this myself. And you really don't. You need to leverage channel creatively, strategically, and build a relationship with them. No channel wants to sell a product that hasn't been built, but they can start making that relationship early. So we do a lot of that for our customers. We learned that the only way to learn is hard way. You got to fail a few times. You got to have few deals where things don't happen. And trust me, that's where we add a lot of value in coaching the founders to say the no is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a market signaling. You may have a great idea, but it's time for it. It's not now, but or at least the market it is not ready for it. So go turn that no into a yes. So we see that a lot, and we push our founders a lot around that.
I want to unpack something you went and said there about going through channel. We're dating ourselves here a little bit, but let's go back almost 20 years to when we went and had the first app stores launched. And people were really trying to figure out, hey, like, what's this app store environment? And now you practically have multi-billion-dollar companies running off of app environments. And I'm kind of seeing the same thing from my perspective in AI, where there's really going to be a few core players that are going to be going in and running things, and you got to be able to kind of sit on top of AI or be adjacent to what is there for what people are using. So maybe put a bit of a crystal ball on, considering that the fact that you're in that pre-product market fit scenario here. What do you think is going to be the AI equivalent of what we saw with the App Store almost 20 years ago?
Absolutely. So look, whether we like it or not, companies still buy through enterprise channel. Yeah. 60 to 70% of sales still happen through a channel provider. Now, sometimes, you may not think that, hey, Snowflake is not a channel, but Snowflake has a marketplace. So your example of that app store today could be a Snowflake marketplace. It could be a Databricks marketplace. In fact, right now, one of the biggest, fastest growing app store is the AWS marketplace.
Yeah.
If you have a great product, especially selling in the cloud and AI, and it's not listed on AWS marketplace, even if, enterprise like a Coca-Cola wants to buy your product, they're going to have to go through a lot of hoops. But if you're listed on the AWS marketplace and they're an AWS customer, well, you have a direct link right there. So here's an example of that analogy that you use. It should be as easy as downloading an app on my iPhone to initiating an application. Literally 15 minutes after I put in an order in my AWS, I should be able to get Docker image or some image that initiates my application within the AWS. So that is exactly what we're teaching a lot of founders is how to leverage something like AWS or Databricks as a way to market fast and not have to go door to door. But of course, some of that has to come after post market fit, but at least you can start learning signals from it as to what people are looking for on these marketplaces.
I love what you go and say there, because what you're also pointing to is that your customers are almost trained to buy or consume in a certain way. And one thing that I've noticed is with a lot of earlier stage companies is that they have a problem that they want to solve, but they don't necessarily understand how the customer thinks they can go and use the solution. And I like what you kind of go and convey is like, hey, you should be able to have an ability to fulfill the expectation of after you buy this product on the marketplace that, okay, it's integratable into my workflows. I'm able to go and have the orientation. Like I remember the first time that I went and bought one of my LLM licenses, like 5 seconds in, after going and accepting it, it's this beautiful little simple prompt. Felt like I was in Google over 20 years ago. It's like, what do you want to get answered, right? And I think it's that first touch of like, why did I just buy this product that's there as a customer that is going and driving me? And I just reviewed Andy's latest letter to shareholders in terms of like just being relentless on customer success and what customers want as part of his guidance for Amazon off the back of 2024. So bang on in terms of what you're going and saying there.
No, you're so right. Look, 10 years ago, I would search a product on Google, and once I get 3 or 4 reviews, and then I'll go buy it. Today, look, 90% of my personal purchases are happening on Amazon store, right? That is my channel. So if you want to sell a consumer product, whether you have a new kind of medical device or whether you have new pair of socks, look, be on Amazon if you really want to get thing out, because exactly where the people consume. And I think enterprises are finding that there are a lot of the software that they have bought over the last 10 years, especially in the cloud era, is not getting used as much. Right?
Yes.
And usage has been a problem. So they're buying $40,000 licenses, only realizing only 5,000 are actually getting used. So they're leveraging tools like Amazon, a marketplace, to figure out who's actually using what I buy and do it quickly. Now I don't need yet another software to tell me who's using what not using. So Amazon understands that about their customer, make it very easy. Just like how they make return easy for customers on the retail side, they make it very easy to see what you're using, not using. And that's exactly what we think is a way quick for procurement people to be able to make decisions. And that's kind of what we're seeing in some of the early AI plays is definitely leverage channel.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I did some of my research on what you're trying to go and build with your fund, and just even like the philosophy that I think you're looking at. And my interpretation of it is that hey, you want to go and get to that core user that already self-identifies as a beneficiary of what is going and being built here. Can you just unpack to me, in the age of AI, in the age of enterprise AI, in the age of vertical enterprise AI, right? We're going hyper niche here. But what do you think is that secret bit that is going to allow these companies that are coming with that early solution to actually allow it to go and scale? Is this AI patents? Is this workflows? Is this building a brand? What do you think is that next stage that you need to be thinking about even before your product market fit to actually have a company that is going to stand the test of time?
Good question. Very good question. We're hearing so many AI pitches. Really, on a given day, I take anywhere between 3 to 5 AI pitches in a day. And everybody has a fancy description of their AI in terms of their model and so on. But one of the things that we actively look for or even coach our founders is to think differently about. Right now, we are at almost what I call level 0 or level 1 of the AI automation, where people are using AI, but they don't fully trust it. And enterprise users want a very binary answer. If you were to ask me, did my PO get paid? I can tell you, I think I have an 86% confidence your PO got paid. No, either you have the confidence or you know. So just because the AI can do certain things for you, you want a binary answer. Our approach has been, sort of like how self-driving work. We went from level 0, me driving, to level 5, where at least in San Francisco, right, you have these fully robot automated taxis from Waymo driving around. AI sort of headed that way, but we're still in the level 0 and level 1, where we're using AI as a way to enhance my decision making, but not necessarily full autopilot yet. I think in the next 5 years, the message is definitely the AI agents are coming and they'll be autonomous. However, the biggest issue missing right now for AI adoption is trust in the data and the human feeling that they are in control. Because right now, if there's an AI that fully controls my job, frankly, it's not good at it, no matter what they tell you out there. AI applications are still flaky. They're giving you the examples of 86% probability something is true. That doesn't really help me. Just because you put a footer there, ChatGPT or Claude can make mistakes, that doesn't help me, because people get fired for making those kinds of mistakes. So what we really need is remove all of the technology, fancy terminology, and really build AI that listening to human now, putting them in control. And once the businesses see that this AI is right, 99% of the time, I think it's going to start getting more autonomous. So autonomous, but human control today, I think is very important. Build that trust in AI. These are the things executives, CIOs, CFOs want to hear from their vendors before they would want to let AI loose in their enterprise data. Hence, the AI adoption today is less than 10%.
I love how you went to distinguish there between kind of the autonomous versus human aid. I always kind of like the idea of like human in the loop. And I think the way you articulated about it, like that confidence or that trust in oneself, right? I think these 0 to 100 promises that are essentially AGI-esque of they'll just go and run everything for you in the background. I think one of the things that AI struggles with is context. And it sounds like what you're really looking for in a lot of these interviews are these people that are looking to develop these AI solutions, do they actually understand the context that their customers operating around? So I really appreciate kind of how you brought attention to that. So you talked about data. I want to tweak to something that is a slightly different question. I'm going to kind of put you on the spot a bit, Vik. Look, there's a standard data room that people are expected to go and look through financials, outlooks, TAM calculations, etc. But then what is something that you are asking yourself or the data that you're presented that you don't ask the founder?
Generally, something that founders have to bring across on their own is a little bit about their passion. I can't really ask it because it's kind of a foo-foo question. Yep. But when they are talking about it, what got them to solve this problem? Why do they think they are the right person to solve this problem? And I'm looking for those clues to see, do they have the confidence? I meet a lot of, in enterprise AI, I meet a lot of technical founders who I think are very good on the technology side, but they are not able to answer why they think they're the right people to solve this problem. Now, sometimes I have to decipher that myself because maybe they have suffered the problem in their old job. Just because they have a PhD in something doesn't tell me that they're passionate about it. What tells me passionate about it is, can they leverage that PhD to build something? Have they built anything even close to maybe something that they have solving for now, but even 1% of it is good. The other thing I look for them is, can they tell a story? Because everyone, you and me included, right? We kind of make our decisions subconsciously in the first 5 minutes when we meet somebody. Where is this going? Where's the discussion going?
Yeah.
And I see founders, they come very strong with their pitch. They have rehearsed this pitch and so on, but the story is not coming together. And then I kind of ask some probing question. The story is still not coming together. And I'm thinking, if that is the true for an investor, how does the customer relate to that? So these are some of the things that at least my brain is constantly picking up. Can you tell the story? And can you sell the story? Not just tell the story, but can you sell it? Because it's going to be a cool, interesting story Vic told me. No, I'm totally sold. I want to hear more. And that's actually more rare than I have seen so far. Technology is way more loaded up in these pitch decks than the story.
Oh, I love what you say there, because this is like a great transition into another question that I want to ask you, Vic, which is this. When you're investing into a company, right, you're like, okay, you got conviction. I'm going to cut that $1 to $2 million check. But what you've just gone and done is that you're investing into a company where you, your partners, or your other investors that are coming along, you're now out of pocket. What would you want the founder that is seeking that $1 to $2 million check from you and your peers? What do you want them to understand that means? Like, what does it really mean? Because you're not going to get that money back for years, if at all. What do you want the founder to think through that you've just gone and put that bet on them?
Yeah, I think the main thing we think, one of the things that me and my partners, Sunil and Amar, we all have scars from our enterprise software days. We all gone through and done startups in that field. So we kind of understand the journey of founder. And by the way, it's not an easy journey, especially in the enterprise AI space. It's one of the hardest space to sell into. I do think this is one of the stickiest space to, once you're in, it's the stickiest industry to be around. People don't switch decisions just because somebody is 10% cheaper. At least the large enterprises don't really care about that. They really care about quality over just quantity or pricing. But having said that, one of the things that I want founders to think about for us is, we are your venture coaches, not just venture capitalists. I think the venture model has gone a lot into what I call nowadays spray and pray, especially in the early and seed stage. A lot of VC firms are making 70 bets a year in early stage startups. There's no way they can support the 70 founders. And that's kind of our mantra is, we really want to bring a venture coaching approach. So not only, we really call it, you can check it out on our website. Our motto is, take our money and let me work for you. And that what really means is, take the capital, you need the VC as in the capital, but you really need the coaching to say, how do I navigate this pre-product market fit? There's a lot of uncertainty here. But what can these VCs, they're not just people who writing me a check, but these are my constant advisors. I can call them at 9 p.m. in the night. I can call them 6 a.m. on a Saturday. I can go for a walk with them if I need it. We do all of these kind of things to get the founder and us to be on a coaching kind of relationship, not just a VC relationship. Hey, give me your reports every 15 days or once a quarter, I'm going to come and check in on how the quarterly report is. That's not us. We are really wanting to have the founders think of us as their coaches. We're not necessarily going to do the work for you all the time, but we will bring you our contacts. We'll bring you our playbooks. We will make calls on your behalf. And we're happy to do that at early stage because that's the bet we are taking.
I love what you go and say there, because I think at times we have almost this abstraction and sensationalization of going and raising money, where like, I just went and got this check at this valuation. But I think what you're going and pointing to is like, hey, what's the difference between two different people that can go and give me a check for $1 to $2 million? And I think what you're articulating here is like, what is going to be on the other side of that relationship? This is not for 6 months or 18 months until I do my next raise. Somebody such as yourself is going to be there for that journey. And as you went and said, right, you've gone through your lows on startups that didn't work out for you, and you've had several successes. And I think it's that balancing act of that warning signal of, we're about to go down a rabbit hole, isn't too good. but also giving that sense to those founders of like, here's a signal that you can't recognize, but I can, of the upswing coming. And I think that that's the intangibles that is there. Just like you said, you can't articulate the passion. I think if I'm a founder looking to get that check from you, I also got to go and anticipate, wow, this active wisdom that I'm going to go and have access to. So I love how you articulate that part, Vik. So thank you for that.
I've learned in every startup that I've done, there's always going to be pivots.
Yeah.
And I joke around with founders, unless you're like a Steve Jobs who can hand you a product you never asked for and you love it, but most of us are not. And we have to pivot to where the customer is. And your idea and the customer always have a gap. That's what the product market fit is all about. So doing those pivots are not easy. And having a sounding board constantly to be able to say, how do I make this pivot? How do I, let go what I've been thinking of it for the last 9 months and pivot into 1 or 2 areas to see what works? It's a very hard thing to do. But if you look at all of the recent big wins, whether you look at something like a Stripe or something like a Slack, they're all pivots, and you have to really think hard about it, that if you have a great idea, especially in the age of AI, where there's a lot of activity right now, on day one, you may not have a lot of customer traction, but that doesn't mean that you can't pivot and generate traction in some other areas. So we help founders a lot in those kind of thought processes. And of course, the product strategy, the product design, customer introductions. One of the biggest things we see as a signal of pivot is who's ready to take your call. And that's a good signal on where the problem is deeper than where my initial idea may have come from.
I love that. It's what I'm having as a takeaway from what you're saying there is it's not about being a founder that has found a solution, but it's about being a founder that can find a solution. And I think those are two very different things. One has attachment, the other one has flexibility and a wanting to serve your audiences ultimately. So I'm gonna switch hats for a moment, and I'm gonna put you on a couple of just off the cuff questions, Vik.
Let's go.
Just to get a sense of you slightly differently. All right, sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Sunrise. Amazing. If you had to go and order one drink, what would it be?
Oh, it's going to be a Petrus. Any of the vintages that are more than 20 years old. But yeah, it's going to be Petrus.
Beautiful. All right. What is a book that you're like, I always try and introduce this book to others? Fiction or nonfiction?
Never Split a Difference.
Oh, you're not the first one that has shared that with me.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. What's a mistake that you made that you realized has been one of the best gifts you've had?
One of my mistakes is that I tend to move on very quickly. If there is something going on wrong, I don't overthink about it. And at times it has hurt me because I could have stayed with the old idea or old project or whatever. But one of the things that I constantly do is I move on too quickly, sometimes too quickly for my team. They think that I'm abandoning them or abandoning the idea, but I move on quickly. But overall, I think it has helped me think differently about life.
I love it. What's the best way for people to reach you, Vik?
Oh, best way to reach me, email, Vik at G2CVentures.com. We'd love to entertain any founders who are wanting to be on a journey with us.
Vik, it has been a real pleasure. Thank you for being part of Raise and Exit and sharing some words of wisdom with people that you haven't even met yet.
Great. Thanks, Edgar. I enjoyed it too.
Cheers. Reflecting on my interview with Vik Ghai, I thought it was just fascinating how solo investors look at situations completely differently and how they really want to be able to go and help the next generation of investment in their domain. And I think what this is really, really critical to consider here is that while Vik may not have been extravagant or very flamboyant, he was very, very deep in his thinking and his guidance and how he wanted to operate. And I think if you can be somebody who qualifies as a founder to go and get funds from Vik, you're going to go and get deep, deep insight and intelligence from him. So why does that kind of matter? It's because I think what's understated a lot of the time as we go and look at the sensational coverage around funds raised at valuation X, etc. What I think is also really important to know is who are you going and getting on the other side and being able to help you? What's the dynamic between you? You want to go, not just go and take a look at the venture capital investor for the money that they provide, but also what's the dynamic that they provide for you? What's the expertise that they go and provide? And I'd really encourage you to look at what Vik talked about in terms of the thinking, the conviction, the ability to go and take an idea and trust the founder to be able to pivot through the process versus having the whole plan figured out. So what does that mean for you? You don't need the whole plan figured out. You just need to be able to go and articulate how you can be a sound governor of the money and go and find that dynamic in the relationship to take counsel, but not be expected to execute on it every single time. Keep in mind, this is not that they're becoming the founder, they're becoming the mentor and the source of funds in one. So there's some consideration for you for why you should consider a solo founder to go and be an investor in one of your rounds. Cheers.